Hey everybody, welcome back to the shop. I finished milling all of our lumber up. I got my camera set up here as a second camera to kind of show you what we got out of this lumber. First pile here is the scrap. This is cutoffs. This is a lot of stuff that I just cut out because it had holes, knots, you know, just pretty much unusable pieces. Some of them still look good, but you know, most of this was scrap. The few pieces that looked good were because, you know, I just had to make things the same length. I'll use something with that. This board here, you can see all the holes here, and Christ, there's still a nail in this thing. This board I finished up. This is the board that I used to do all four sides and the two ends. You can see there's still a trail mark here from the nail. You can see it a little bit better on this piece. You see this here and this here? I'm hoping they're showing up on the camera. Those are the marks that were made from when I hit the nail with my joiner. I didn't want to run these through the planer to clean these up because, as you can see, I'm losing thickness here, and I'm going to use pocket hole joinery, which has a minimum width of a ½ inch, and I am, you know, I have just enough over a ½ inch to do some sanding. So I didn't want to run through the planer one more time. So these marks I will get rid of with sandpaper. So this is also scrap. This piece here I could use if I need to. I'd have to take that nail out, obviously. There's a few holes here. But we'll throw him over here too. And here are the pieces that are going to make up our cabinet. These are two pieces of trim that I'll get later. What my design is I'm going to have, it's going to be more of an upright cabinet, so the dimensions are pretty much fixed to what my design is. I have 25 3/4 long and 15 3/4 wide. What this is going to get us is two interior shelves that would go here, and a top and a bottom. The top and bottom, you can see we got a pretty ugly piece of wood here. I'm going to get a cap for the top and bottom that will be a little bit thicker, 3/4 of an inch thick, and we'll have a 3/8 of an inch bevel. That'll become more that'll make more sense when we get to it, basically. So right now what we want to do is I'm going to turn the cameras off, get this one out of the way. I'm going to do a little bit of sanding. I'll do that off camera. As I'm finishing, I'll come back on so you see what I'm doing. What I want to do basically is sand these down and get rid of the marks the nails made. And then I'll talk about the pocket holes. Okay, so now I'll be back in a minute. Thanks. Hey everybody, how are you? Welcome back. As you can see, I went a little crazy here and kind of changed up the shop a little bit. I have had this Kreg table. I'll link what it is in the bottom here because I can't remember the name of it. I've had it for over a year and I really like it, and it's sturdy. Those of you that have been watching me for a while know I've been complaining about my bench. So I finally said, you know what, I'm about to do some pocket screws. I'm going to take it apart and use the assembly table that I have made by Kreg, which will make that a heck of a lot easier. And I'm not going to bring that bench back out here until I build a base for it. This will be my working surface until that happens. I am now going to talk to you a little bit about the joinery we're doing. Pocket screws. Let me explain a little bit about what they are for those that don't know. This is a jig made by the Kreg company, the same company that made the table. No, I am not sponsored. I actually really do like their products and have paid my own money for these things. So that's all I got to say about that. If you want to see what I'm using here, I will put links below. I don't have affiliate links right now, so currently they will be just regular old links to Amazon or Home Depot or somewhere. I am in the process of getting affiliate links working. And if and when that happens, I will let you know so that you know that they're affiliate links. But right now, they will not be. They will just be links. This is the K2000 Kreg Jig. not going to talk too much about it or how it works because it's 19 years old. It actually came out in 2000 through 2003. This was the model that was manufactured. I believe they're up to the K5 or 6 now. I don't even know. I've never had a reason to replace this. It's not as easy to use as the new ones because I have to manually, mechanically take plastic pieces in and out of here to change the sizes of the wood, which I've already done for our 1/2 inch lumber here. So what I'm going to do is I've already cut one to test off camera. That's right here. And I'll show you that I actually made a mistake. The last time I used this jig, I had it set up for 2x4 lumber. And the first 2 cuts I did, you can see, were way too high. I had to take a piece of plastic out of here. Now, these 3 and these 3 I'm going to use. These don't matter, and because this is going to be the top of the cabinet, it's going to be covered by I'm going to put a cover over this, so those 2 extra holes don't matter. They'll be covered, and they don't affect the strength of these joints. Pocket screws are exactly what they look like here. They're little pockets where a screw goes in on an angle and joins into the joining piece. So I'm going to show you quickly how to cut them here, and then we'll assemble the table. What I'm doing is putting 3 on each piece, and I'm just lining up to the edge, clamping it, and I'm using the furthest right hole. You probably didn't see anything there, so let me do this for you. Turn the jig this way. Now I'm going to move to this edge. I'm going to use the furthest left hole. And then I'm just going to space one, and if I just center the 2 holes on the plastic block, it basically gives one roughly in the center if I use the center hole. Then it's just flip it over. Make sure you put the holes on the same side of the board. That's a mistake I've made. It's it's just one of those things. It'll happen to you probably the first time you use one. And there you have it. What we have is 3 pocket holes on each side. The screws go in on an angle and join to the adjoining piece. I'm going to go cut the rest of them off camera. We'll come back and put the cabinet together. Hey everybody, welcome back. So as you can see, I started with the pocket hole assembly here. It's very easy. All you do is take your pocket hole boards, get them lined up the way you want them. Make sure you have the right one. I have to pick out specific boards here that have the biggest defects, because the biggest defects I want on the ends because they'll be covered by the caps I'm going to use. And then I just take, for pine or plywood, you use the coarse screws, and 1/2 inch requires 1 inch. And my milling brought me right at 1 inch. And this wood is pretty brittle. It's pretty dry. So the pan heads are actually trying to go further through. So I have to be careful that I don't go through the lumber. One of the screws on this side went through. So I'm being extremely cautious here. I actually went and got my little 10-volt Makita. You can use clamps to hold these. I'm able to hold them pretty darn close to where they need to go. A little bit of sandpaper will fix any slight discrepancies. And it's just that simple. Hey guys, I'm going to go to a time lapse here, or a speed through 4 times as fast, and do a little talk over as my last words there. It's just that simple. It really is true. And the rest of this video would be 16 minutes long if I let it just play out. So I'm going to chop it down to that 60 minutes down to about 3.5. As you can see here, it's just rinse and repeat. The pocket screws were already cut, and I'm just inserting the screws. I went down to the basement and cut 2 8-inch pieces of plywood that I'm using as a spacer here to insert the first shelf. The first shelf, once you get it on the spacers, it's the same as the top and the bottom. Just screw the screws in. The pocket screws take care of themselves. I'm not using any glue here. I don't believe glue is necessary, especially on this dry pine wood, as it's just going to soak it in. I think I'm talking about that same thing right there, where I'm kind of talking and not doing anything. I got to kind of turn my back to you to get the other side in. Just take a second. Then we'll move on to the next shelf, which is also going to be 8 inches. The dimensions I came up with here, I'm doing to fit a piece of plywood I have that is going to be the back. It is 48 inches long, and it's about a 9-inch offcut piece. So basically the end of a piece of plywood somebody cut off at 9 inches, and it wasn't used for anything, and I scrapped it from somewhere. So to go with the pallet wood project, we're going to go with a piece of scrapped plywood for the back. Here I am moving the spacers to the next shelf. You can see the pocket screws, when they go in, they actually will go on an angle, and they actually pinch down on those spacers. They were kind of difficult to get out, but that just tells me that they seated in nicely, which is good. So here goes the next shelf in, and it's the same thing. Put the 6 screws in, screw them in. So here you can see we have the carcass of our cabinet. In the next video, I am going to put a piece of trim on the bottom and the top on the inside, and then I'm going to put a top and bottom cap, which will be, I've decided it's another piece of found wood. It'll be 3/4 of an inch thick with a 3/4 inch chamfer around it, so it'll have an overhang on the top and the bottom. And we'll put the back in, and then we'll throw some paint on it and get the drill bits and the router bits into this thing. Thanks again for watching. Sorry for my back again. Michael, the Iron Maiden shirt I wore this time for you for the comments last time. Thank you very much.